I probably could have picked a better place, a quieter place to do this review, but this week it is the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. This is a big old beast, longer than the Wrangler, but it's essentially a stretched Wrangler with a tray. There's no diesel option. It comes in a 3.6 Pentastar with an 8-speed automatic. And it's built for all the rugged stuff. There's tie downs on the bonnet, these big, butch, manly clasps to make sure the whole thing is properly latched. And when you're parking, and it's not that difficult to park, but you've got to remember you've got that much out the front of the car. The wheels are 17-inch with an outer measurement of 32 inches. These slider bars are pretty serious. They're solid steel, and all of the outside surfaces seem that they could be replaced cheaply if you happen to come adrift out on the Rubicon trail. And there's little hints of Jeep everywhere, here on the wheel and here on the windscreen. And although the cabin is kind of stretched by this much, with the Wrangler normally coming to about here, it doesn't mean that there's all that much extra space in this. The rear combination lights kind of stick out, kind of begging to be knocked off, and there's extraction points and all of that sort of stuff. As well, there's a high mounted brake light here, a camera, and have a look at this. A soft open tailgate. It's got this nice soft sort of kind of sprayed on covering on the tub. And inside, the tub is absolutely capacious, although there doesn't appear to be an electric outlet. There are some LED lights that come on with the lighting inside, and all of the internal rails for tie downs, plus really serious anchor points. Once upon a time, all of this stuff came off, even the doors. There's cables joining the doors so that the windows have power even though the controls are in the center. Although I didn't need that side step dash slider to get in, it's still a long way up in here. This is a very, very tall car, and everything feels really sturdy. There's surprisingly little legroom despite this being a long wheelbase version, but it still has that rugged feel. There's a big roll bar around the inside of the car to which all of the other stuff is fitted with these very sturdy grab handles. And inside, a place for the speakers. Overhead, this bit is the back bit. That all comes off in one piece, and you can see the front comes off in two pieces with latches all over the place. There are little hidden goodies all over the place, including a speaker for outdoors, top tether points, and there's 3 of those, one behind each of the seats. There's also a little middle window, lockbox underneath, and a place to store your jack and so forth. Of course, this has got CarPlay, it's wired, and this is Uconnect 4, so it's not the latest system's 5, but this is pretty easy to use. The climate controls, the heated seats, heated steering wheel and so forth, all one single button across the bottom, plus you've got an array of buttons here. And the instrument is kind of a little bit ye olde worldy, including the buttons for smart cruise control and the audio and menus, plus telephone and voice. If you press and hold the OK button, it accidentally changes to miles per hour. There's little holes everywhere, there's little spots to put things, sensor for dusk obviously, and the dash, it all makes sense once you know where the roots of this car came from. Really sturdy grab handles. And there's some of the buttons on the doors that I said required an electric treatment. The window switches are here in the center. Down below, the selector for the 8-speed automatic, plus there's some auxiliary buttons here behind it, because you can put accessories on this like a light bar and all of that sort of stuff. The off-roading controls are over to the left, including for the trick sway bar and a full off-road program. And then the air conditioning, including buttons for the steering wheel and seat heating, plus a screen off button which turns the screen off for nights when it's really bright. The glove box is absolutely tiny. Nets and so forth for putting smaller stuff in. For me, there is a little bit of a challenge. I've got quite small feet for a bloke of 6 foot, but look, there's no footrest, and this is incredibly narrow. That's only about, what, 1, 2, 3.5 shoes wide. But it's around town where you're going to be doing most of your driving. So, manual handbrake, you'll notice. And we were asked a couple of questions on the last review, you can hear the doors have just locked, about exactly how easy this is to drive around town and how easy it is to park. Got to tell you, the reversing camera, let me just quickly show you that, is unbelievably clear. And it's got a nice wide scope as well. This is very potholed. Which brings me to the next point. Indicators are on the left-hand side, which will mean a lot to the Australian viewers. The American viewers probably not so much. That's where they'd expect them. Because there's no heads-up display, it's not quite so important that I do the maps in the system itself. You can hear that Pentastar really works hard for its money. And at the moment I'm running at around 15 litres per 100 kilometres, which I have to admit is not absolutely brilliant. I'm now at 70 kilometres an hour and the steering is a little floaty. You can hear the whirring of those tyres, and the slower I go, the rumblier it is, because these are off-road tyres, or at least they can go off-road. Which does mean you get tossed around a bit. But as if to prove a point, one of the viewers insisted that this car absolutely could not be driven and parked easily in a parking spot in a shopping centre. Well, I don't have a shopping centre handy, but I do have a fast food joint. We'll just call it the one that starts with M. Okay, let's go in here. And I will prove to you that this is as easy to park as a family hatch. You do have to allow quite a bit of leeway when negotiating corners because there's a lot of car between the two wheels. The wheelbase on this is quite long. Just going to let this bloke go past. Because there are a number of times when I've tried to get in and out and it wasn't as easy as I thought. So let's come around here like so. You just have to allow yourself a little bit of extra room. That comes up. It's got guidelines. You do definitely have to use both mirrors as well though. A 360 degree option would be brilliant. And just have to make sure I don't hit the rubbish bin at the back. And we're in one go. If you've got your phone plugged into CarPlay, there's nowhere to kind of store it, so I've just got it stashed in front of the gear levers. There's nothing to stop it from sliding out over the side when you go around corners, so it's kind of annoying. Other than that, it's got to rest either up on the tray at the top in the sun, which is not ideal, or on the floor or on the seat. And there's not a lot in the way of driver aids either. You do have blind spot monitoring, however, you don't have any of the lane controls and all of that sort of stuff. So you do feel like you're driving the car yourself, which is actually quite refreshing for a change. Now, I know you're going to say this is an expensive car, and it absolutely is. There's no doubt about it. But it is so capable. It can go anywhere you want to go. And that is not something that you can say there's a Porsche over here. That's not something you can say about the Porsche. It can't go anywhere. It's not even designed to go anywhere. The Maserati, not designed to go anywhere. Audi Q7. It's a big, luxurious town SUV. And I think you'd be well within your right to ask, what the hell are they for? This, on the other hand, its purpose is very clear. Very clear. It's aimed at happy campers. And then when they get back, they want us to be able to wash it off and not have to worry about it. Not have to worry about being precious with it. The bits that are going to rub, the outside bits, those plastic bits, you can replace those fairly easily. Like I said, I've spent the entire week smiling. Why? Because this thing is so ridiculous. And it isn't for everybody. And if you want something economical and small, you're gonna need to look elsewhere, because this is big and bold and brassy. And I loved every minute of it. That's all this week from the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. It's a car I love almost despite itself. It's big, it's bold, but it does exactly what it says on the box. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just there to subscribe.